Party games are fun, whether it be trying to get that last bonus star for Mario Party, or getting those big hits within a nice little board game, or that one single heart of the card moment in a TCG. Those kind of moments I enjoy, kind of gets everyone together and everyone just has a great fun time. So it made me wonder, with this many Tales characters within the franchise, why don't we have a game akin to a Mario Party? I mean, with the countless amount of mini games within every single game, you'd think that this would be the obvious idea. Well, what if I told you that there has been some that were pretty much short-lived? In this video, we will be talking about the 2 games that were board game-like in the Tales series, as well as some actual board games / card games outside of the video game medium. Let's start off with Tales of Mobile, because on top of all the minigames that you can get within the service, there was one board game-like game that players can enjoy. Tales of Mobile Scramble Land was a minigame that was offered onto the Tales of Mobile app. The game had the player go through a board game-like space to earn the target amount of Gall to win with the Tales character of their choosing. How Gall is earned is by moving onto spaces, defeating the monsters that occupy those spaces, and then obtaining them. Gall will then be accumulated as long as they own that space. Kinda like a Monopoly in some way. Though, other CPUs representing as other Tales characters can go around and take such spaces from the player. Throughout the game, players will be able to earn arts, techniques, item cards that can help them as well as challenge the CPUs in battle. A trial version was offered to players and the ability to move their save data from the trial version onto the full game. Only articles and screenshots are available for this title, but with the work being done on preserving iMode games, including preserving the trial versions of many Tales of Mobile games, speaking of which, Tales of Tactics have been already preserved, so something I could talk about later, I hope one day we'll be able to see the footage of this lost Tales media. Some of you that were around the internet during 2012 may have come across a web browser game that involved Tales characters rolling dice and moving through a board-like game area. This was Tales of the World Dice Adventure. Released specifically on April 26, 2012, Dice Adventure was offered on multiple platforms from your PC all the way down to your mobile devices. Of course, as long as you had a Bandai Namco ID, even players from the West were able to play it. On top of the gameplay, there was a gacha system. Yes, this game had gacha. That players can get other units or equipment from to put into their Tales team, or to be used as upgrade for their current Tales characters that they have. The avatars were specifically from the Tales of the Town community hub, and they could be customized with costumes including outfits from the Tales characters themselves. Despite the footage of this game being solely on trailers released by Bandai Namco, the screenshots that I was able to gather were more fruitful in depicting what the game was about. That's why I have to give a big shout out to a user by the name of Emillers for compiling a whole navigation and quest tutorial on their LiveJournal page. Check out the page for more information on Dice Adventure, as I feel like it's very concise in its detail. The link will be in the description. When the player logs in with their Bandai Namco ID, they're greeted to a web browser page where they can pick from several options. There's a lot to choose from, but we'll focus on this little button right over here, which has the player going into Quest. The regular game offers several ways to play: Regular Quest, Tower Quest, and Coliseum. Regular Quest has the player going through a board game mode where progression is divided into 4 areas, with the last area being the boss. The player and 5 others compete for the highest score and cooperate at the end to obtain better equipment for their assigned Tales team, or lotto tickets for the gacha to pull better units. As I said, there is gacha in this game, so it's kind of like a beginning before we got gacha in other Tales of mobile games. How they proceed through these areas is with rolling a dice and competing on challenges which each space These spaces can give the player items, recover their team's health, battle other creatures or other players, and many more. Tower quests were different from regular quests, as it was a gauntlet of floors that progressively got harder as you traversed higher. Unlike regular quests, items were not offered within tower quests, and healing was very limited, so gels were encouraged to be brought in before tackling these towers. As for any gauntlet, the higher the player went, the better the rewards would be, but at the risk of losing it all if they fail. And then Colosseum is kind of self-explanatory, as it involves the player having their Tails team go against other players' Tails team, or they're going against the weekly, monthly boss fight, which in this case, in this image, is Chitose. The game celebrated only their 1-year anniversary before being shut down in June 28, 2013. Overall, the reception was pretty mixed. Some users did not find the game that enjoyable due to some factors. One aspect was the rooms. Before doing regular quests, you either had to create your own room/lobby for others to join, or join other people's lobbies. But due to the lack of players, most of these rooms were mainly done with NPCs to fill in the rest, and sometimes rooms will be abandoned mid-quest. This particular thing was due to the wait times between dice rolls. You see, once the player finishes their turn, there is a timer that indicates how long the wait time has to be before they have to roll again. My understanding is this to sync up all players' turns so that everyone's on the same page, but supposedly these wait times were the reasons why rooms and quests were mainly abandoned mid-game. The criticism is understandable though, because if I was playing an online game and I tried to complete a quest and several people just left, I would be pretty miffed about it. Especially since quests were needed to be completed if you wanted to get lottery tickets for the gacha or to strengthen the player's existing Tails team. Another thing is that regular quests were automatic. So the involvement of the player is only necessary when rolling the dice or setting up items for the next turn. There is an option to roll the dices while you wait. However, for the most part, you're just kind of waiting till this 5-minute timer is up. And if you take in consideration the 4 areas plus the boss, you can see where it will start to get dull fast. The tower quests were the only ones that were not automatic, so at least there was some sort of player agency within this web browser game. For the people that did stuck with the game, they still had somewhat fun with it. It's just that the tempo and the lack of players is what led to most of them not engaging with it at all. And unfortunately, this is where the Tales of party games kinda stops. Only 2. Kind of a shame seeing that the board game genre didn't expand beyond these 2 games. But hey, this is not where the video would stop, since we are driving outside of the video game media and onto games with the Tales series marked right onto it. So if you have a means or the ability to find them and get them yourself, you can enjoy them at this time. So let's get out of the game space and into the real world. Ah yes, we are here now, the real world. Let's start off with some games that Bandai Namco released that are fully Tales themed. Starting with Tales of Daifugo. Tales of Daifugo, or Tales of the Tycoon, is a minigame that was part of the Tales of the Town web browser game in the Tales of the Community website. Basically, the game is a form of Daifugo with a Tales of twist to it. If some of you have ever played President, the playing card game, it's basically the same ball game with minor differences here and there. I guess the game was so popular amongst Tales fans that they made a real version of it. And if you look on the back, there is an advertisement for a Dice Adventure too. Ah, how far that fruit has fallen. I guess you gotta get the word out somehow. Anyways, opening the box, we see that we get 2 decks. together making 52 cards and 1 joker. Barbados is an interesting choice for a joker. I personally think Carta would have been better, but hey, that's just me in the end. The rules follow the same rule set as Daifugo. However, the differences being that there's 2 piles, the main pile and a discard pile. In a regular game of Daifugo, once the player plays a higher card that no other player can beat, that pile goes towards the winning player. In this game in particular, that pile goes towards the side and becomes the discard pile. This allows the effects to come into play and change up the gameplay and strategy. If you put specific Tales characters together, it leads into different effects. For example, let's say the game was going by doubles. If you play Kless and Mint together as a pair, this will allow the player who played it to gain the strongest card. An ace, a 2, or a joker would be a strongest card if the player had one, from each other players. I played some rounds with my family members, and it's a lot of fun, especially the different effects on top of it. It changes up the strategy in many ways. Overall, it's a great pastime if you want to enjoy a solid card game. I also wrote down what most of the effects are, so if you are interested, there'll be a link in the description for the PDF file. Now, if you wanted to enjoy a Tales card game that had a little bit more back and forth to it, look no further than Bandai Namco's own Tales of My Shuffle, a trading card game made by Bandai Namco, including Tales characters from Tales of Fantasia all the way up to Tales of Innocence. Tales of My Shuffle was offered as a bonus with Tales of Fandom 2 on the PlayStation 2, and it included a single deck of 32 cards for one person, a playmat with the rules on the other side. So if you wanted to play with friends and such, you either have to get another 32 card deck from the same game, or pick it out from booster packs that were sold separately. There isn't much on how to play Tales of My Shuffle, so treat this as like a small tutorial on how to play this game if you so happen to come across a deck of your own. The playing field is laid out with an HP counter, a combo field, a battlefield, discard pile, event field, TP field, and a deck pile. Before a match can start, players start off with 7 HP and pick one rank 1 character from the deck and place it face down on the battlefield. Decks are then shuffled and players choose who goes first, either by flipping a coin or rock, paper, scissors. Both draw 6 cards, and then the face down character is flipped face up. Let's jump into the game flow. The draw phase has both players drawing cards until they have 6 cards in their hands. This is interesting because most card games have you draw 1 card and not your whole hand. If players have 6 cards in their hands, they can't draw any more though. Moving on to the main phase 1, it has the player put up to 4 characters into the battlefield. Certain effects can be activated if placed onto specific spaces that the card states in their description. To play higher ranking cards though, the player has to make sure that they have a character 1 rank lower on the field first, before they can do so. Players can't have multiple characters with the same name on the field as well, so you can't have Kless and Kless and Kless on the same place. The event phase has the player playing an event card from their hand to the field. If TP is required to play the card, a TP counter will be discarded first. This is another phase where the opponent can also play their event cards too. So, whoever turn is it, they get to resolve their event card first. Now, we move on to the fun part, the battle phase. This is where all the combos happen. Whatever characters that the player has on their field can attack starting from the first space all the way up to the last space. If there isn't a character within the particular space, that leads into a pass for that specific space. The opponent will use their own character as defenders in the same order. Players can increase their attacks in 2 ways, either with battle cards or with linking. Players can either use both or once per character. The first way is to taking a card from their hand and placing it into the combo zone. That acts as a +1 to the character's attack. The other way is using dedicated battle cards that are linked to the characters. If the player uses the dedicated battle cards, the character from the battle zone moves up to the combo zone as well. Some characters benefit without linking at all, such as with Natalia and her effect giving her +2 when she's not linked. Once every card has been played, the attack powers are totaled up together, and who has the higher attack wins the battle. If the attacker wins, then the opponent takes 2 hits to their HP. If the opposite happens, the attacker takes 1 hit, and if there was a tie, both players takes 1 hit. After this, all cards in the combo field are discarded. This includes the cards that were taken out of your hand and put into the combo zone, the dedicated battle cards, as well as the characters that are moved into the combo zone. After the battle phase, main phase 2 starts, and this allows the player to replenish the field with more characters. The TP phase has the player drawing 1 card from the top of their deck and placing it face down in the TP field. This counts as 1 counter. The maximum number of TP a player can have is 5. And then finally, the discard phase. This phase has the player discard as many cards from their hand. This phase seems odd, but given the fact that you can't lose from decking out, because your discard pile ends up becoming your new deck if you end up pulling your last card, on top of every draw phase being that you and the player are able to draw until you have 6 cards in your hands, this could lead into some strategy, especially if your hand has undesirable cards, or specific cards work better if they're put into the discard pile. These are the basic rule sets for Tales of My Shuffle. If you want to take a look at the rules in more detail, I'll have it placed in the description as well. Overall, it seems like it would be a lot of fun, and does have some sort of synergy with its cards. There are some cards that work better with other cards, such as Chester's effect to bring Kless back from the discard pile to your hand, or with some event cards being more beneficial if you were playing it during your opponent's turn, such as with this Estelle one that has the player remove 2 0-cost event cards from the opponent's field. It would have been interesting to see what had been like if Bandai Namco continued making Tales of My Shuffle cards. From what I can gather, the final booster pack stopped with releasing characters from Tales of Hearts and Tales of Innocence, so it's interesting to wonder what a Tales of My Shuffle would have been with characters from Tales of Graces or Exilia or Zetria, or even further down the line. A Tales of My Shuffle tournament? Heh, sign me up. Though I will need to have a list of every single card translated. In Tales of Graces, specifically in Sable Azole, the player can meet a person that has the Tales of Graces cast play against him in a game of Magic Carta. Asbel says the first line of a particular Tales character quote, and the player needs to find which Tales character said the line before the CPU does. The one with the most points at the end wins. Fun fact, but this minigame is actually based on an actual Japanese card game called Uta Garuta, or Poetry Karuta. The game itself has the one person reading the Yomifuda, or the reading cards, whereas the players try to match it up with the Torifuda, which is the grabbing cards. Some of you might recognize this game with its more competitive counterpart, which has a whole anime/manga about it. I highly recommend it. It's definitely a good watch. The minigame must have been extremely popular with Tales fans, because a physical version of the game was made as well. I own specifically the 2 versions that were released in 2011, but there is a 3rd version that was released in 2017 that you can actually see a whole video of it on the Tales of official channel. But for now, let's look at these 2 versions, since this is all I have. The 2 boxes come with instructional sheets, a 2-sided poster, a list of all the Tales of character cards, 2 CDs with one having Yuri Asbel and Leon Sinews speaking the lines, while the other one has them doing a mini skit after each reading. The second box comes with an extra disc that has Zelos and Jade having their own little mini skits after each verse. Finally, there are 2 decks of cards for each box. One with the lines, and one with the characters. The character lineup is split between the two, but I can imagine the game getting extra fun, and extra long, if both decks and CDs were used for a huge Magic Carta game. Players can play it 2 ways. They can either use the CD and have the voices be played out while they figure out who says what.
I am a champion!
Or they can read it themselves on the reading cards. Though, if you don't know Japanese or if you don't know what line is being said by each senyu, then this game becomes extra hard, playing at an unknown difficulty at that point. So, to make it a little bit simpler, I did create some sheets, again in a PDF format, that could be printed out and placed over the cards with a sleeve or something, kind of like this in a way. Most of them are basically pulled from Tales of Graces, which was very lucky for me since I didn't have to translate anything. With some exceptions, such as with the Kanos, the special ones, and the ones from Tales of Exilia. Another fun fact, I didn't play through Exilia during this video making, so I had to spin through a bunch of lines just trying to figure out which character said what. And I'm so glad I picked Jude's side, because if I took Mila's side, oh man, I'll be on a trip on trying to find out where these lines were. I also added the blank ones that were included with the boxes, if you wanted to make your own or add other Tales characters to the mix. The game looks like a lot of fun, as long as the players know who the Tales characters are and which lines are said by who. If not, then you can imagine how one-sided it could become if you have someone that already knows a lot of Tales. Plus, some of the lines are kinda too obvious, like with Leon, he basically just says his name. Or others being just extremely vague, like with Caius and Rubia. I don't know how many people actually done the cooking minigame in Tales of the Tempest. These are where the lines are from, so extremely vague. But even so, I definitely can see the appeal of this game. Can't wait for the 2026 version, right? Where the list of characters grows from looking like this to suddenly looking like that. Yeah, try remembering every single line for every single character, huh? There isn't any official board game made for the Tales series. However, I found something fairly similar, and surprisingly pretty cool. So, here is a leaflet of Namco's 97 to 98 Winter PlayStation catalog. You can see that it has several Namco titles represented, including Tales of Destiny. But the cool thing about this leaflet is when you open it up, it becomes a board game. The game here is pretty simple. Players are racing to get to the goal at the end. According to the How to Play section, all you need to do is to cut out the icons of all the characters on the left side and have a single die ready to play. Though, I didn't want to ruin this leaflet, it looks too cool. So instead I printed out Destiny's cast on sticker paper and put them on some cardboard to make little chips. I also added Lilith because she's technically part of the cast as well. I also didn't have a dice ready either, so I opted for a Pokemon damage counter instead. I am very prepared here, guys. With everything said, now it's time to play. By myself. There isn't much nuances with the game since all that matters is that if you roll the best number to proceed. But I can imagine it being a very fun side game to play. Maybe with some creative ingenuity, you can add some different challenges towards it, depending on which space you land on. Maybe even incorporate Tales of Destiny into the challenges as well. Overall, cool novelty, nice thing to have, even though if it's simple in nature. So, this mainly covers the games that are specifically for Tales. But what about the ones that aren't Tales related, but has the Tales of IP within it? Back in 2011, trading card company Brushiro introduced Tales of Graces and Tales of Exilia to their now retired card game, Victory Spark Versus. This was a collectible card game made by the same developers as Weiss Schwarz and Dimension Zero, and it has IPs from a multitude of mediums facing against each other. For Tales of Graces, A trial deck and booster packs were released. Exilia, on the other hand, only got booster packs. So, since I only bought the trial deck, this is what we're gonna look at. I mean, it would be cool to see some booster packs right now, but they're kinda hard to come by. The deck itself is made up of a pre-constructed 50 card deck, a quick manual, a playmat, and a detailed rulebook. The backs state that there is a 1 in 6 chance of getting a foil stamped autograph of one of the Senyus for either Sophie or Asbel. But again, of course, I got the second hand, so if I did had one, it's long gone right now. Does Sunbleach Asbel count as a rare card? Going through the rest of the cards, it's mainly just the cast member of Graces, with even Kid Asbel and Richard there too. Interestingly enough, we don't see any cards that could consider a magic, trap, or an item card that most modern card games have. This is where Victory Spark Versus the game itself is pretty interesting, because it all relies on just all the cards being characters. The whole objective of this game is to knock out 10 characters from the opponent's side of the ring. These characters, once knocked out, comes from the top of your deck placed back on to the ring. The whole idea is that some of these cards can have abilities that will spark once being top decked, also known as spark abilities. Another thing that makes Victory Spark Versus different from most card games is the battle phase. When a character gets into battle, the bench characters are used as support / the number of times a player can attack. If the bench card is partnered with a character in the ring, as shown at the bottom of the card, this automatically is considered a KO, and the opponent immediately puts their character in the knockout zone. This whole battle phase really fits into Tales of Grace's theme as well as Tales of Exilia, since both have the feel of partnering together to defeat the enemy. Now, unlike Tales of My Shuffle and me going through the rules, Victory Spark Versus has a little bit more to it and it's a bit more complicated. So instead, I did it once again, another PDF file. If you want to learn more about the rules, I'll have it down in the description just like every other PDF file. The last card game that uses the Tales of IP that I'm going to talk about is Union Arena, specifically using Tales of Arise being the representation of Tales in this Bandai Namco made TCG. Like Victory Spark Versus, Union Arena is a TCG that uses IP from other medium to fight against each other. Each deck is made up of 50 cards that specific IP is part of, and the objective of the game is to bring the opponent's life counter down from 7 to 0. How this is done is by attacking an opponent with the characters the players have put on to their front lines. These frontline attackers can be put onto them through action points, or the characters can be put onto the support line as energy support. Luckily, if you want to know more about how to play this game, the game is fairly recent and they also have a whole interactive tutorial on the Union Arena website. Now, for the deck itself, it comes with the main 4, the Crimson Crows, several scenic cards, and a lot of hoodles. So if you're hoping for Kisara or Dohalim, you're gonna have to try your luck on those boosters. They also released some sleeves, which aren't the best sleeves in the world to be honest, but they are serviceable, I guess. Also like Victory Spark Versus, the artwork is mainly from the game itself, so not so much inspiration on new art. Now, from my research on both games and how well the Tales IP decks were, I can only find one blog talking about how to upgrade the Tales of Graces deck, allowing it to win 2 tournaments in 2011. Other than that, my guess is that not a lot of players actually played with these decks, or it wasn't notable compared to the others. As for the Union Arena cards, they weren't the best in terms of strength compared to the other sets when I was researching tier lists. At best, if you were playing a dedicated Rinwell/Law deck, it makes it tier 3 with the rest of them hitting the bottom of the barrel. Again, this could be an issue of lack of players that play these decks, so take this for a grain of salt. Who knows, maybe you all would be the first to win competitively with a Tales of Arise deck in Union Arena. That would be pretty cool. After these two, not much else has the Tales of IP on it. Though, we are getting a White Schwartz set with the Tales of series being represented in it. Maybe when that comes out, I can do a video if people are interested in seeing that. I mean, if the cards are cool and if they have some pretty cool art on them. And it is Tales, so might have to. And this is where I'm going to wrap up this video. Thank you for watching. Ever since seeing Dice Adventure, I always wonder how far Tales have gone down the party game, card game spear. Especially since we never get to see such a title by them. Looks like they had made some grounds, even though it isn't what I expected. But what do you guys think? Do you guys want to see the Tales series venture back into a party game, board game-like concept? What would you want from it? Do you want it to be more like Mario Party on its own thing? Would you want a physical board game from them? Either way, subscribe for more Tales of videos, and I'll see you all later. Peace.